It's your coach that knows hoops the most. Episode 4 coming at you live, man. We are talking hoops every week, and we back for another episode. This episode 4 is not who you know or what you know, is how you do it. All right. This week, of course, we're gonna talk the NBA, talk about Luka and the Mavs, talk about the Lakers still being on top. I'm gonna give you a who's hot, who's not NBA segment this week. We talk about some rising teams in NBA. We talk about some teams that are tanking that just can't win a game. We got college basketball on deck as always. We're gonna talk about the GLIAC, talk about JUCO basketball, and we also gonna talk about high school hoops. Just had some games this past weekend. Had a chance to attend and go to, so we're gonna talk about that as well. So we talking hoops, man. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about the Bucks, man. The Milwaukee Bucks, #1 team in the NBA right now, outside of the Lakers. They both have the same record, the 24-4. They're getting about 121 a game. And the interesting thing about the Bucks is they're more than a Greek freak. They're more than a Greek freak. I mean, Eric Bledsoe was playing at a high level, even though he's injured at the moment, playing at a high level. Brook Lopez is playing at a high level. They've got guys that are getting it done. I thought that they would struggle a bit when they lost Brogdon. And you can see the resurgence of Brogdon with Pacers. And that's another thing we're going to talk about in the future, just not on this episode, because we're talking about the Bucks. Bucks is not only the best team in the East, but they have one of the best records in the NBA. And part of that is because of Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. He giving every bit of 30, 10, and 9 a game. I mean, he's just a matchup problem. You can't put smaller guards on him. You can't put bigs on him because he can stretch the floor a little bit. He's not a high-level 3 shooter. He has to dribble up, and he'll occasionally make a 3 and make a 17, 18, 19-foot jump shot. But he one dribble, he had the basket, spin move, up and under, and he just finished over the top of you. He dunking the ball over you. And there aren't a lot of teams that can stop that right now. So he's just a matchup problem. But the guys around him are making plays. They are getting it done. They're averaging 121 points a game, and they're only giving up 108. So the thing about some of these teams that are at the top of the East and the top of the West, they're not giving up 120, 125. They're giving over a little over 105, 106. The Bucks are right at 108 a game, and they're getting 120 a game. So it's a differential of about 12 points right there. So that pretty much means most games they're going to be in position to win the game because they can check. Like I said last week, and like I've said every week, if you can check, you have a chance to be one of the best teams in whatever league you play in. I don't care if that's NBA. I don't care if that's college. If you can check, you got a chance. And the thing about the Bucks is they can check. They can check. I mean, the Greek freak is usually he's all team, first team defense as well because he gets blocks, he gets steals. They have an emphasis on defense. So you got to watch out for the Bucks. And tonight, recording this on Thursday, it might go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Who knows, man? My schedule is crazy when you're working 2 jobs and you're no longer coaching basketball. But tonight, you get the Bucks and you get the Lakers. So you're going to find out, and it's going to be in Milwaukee. And the Lakers, they got the same record at 24-4. You're going to find out, is this a finals preview? Are these the 2 teams that we see in the finals? So yeah, recording this at work, so you might hear some things here and out, but that's not gonna stop the pie, baby. I'm gonna keep rolling like tissue or butter on a roll. You know how I gets down. So tonight you're gonna get the Lakers and you're gonna get the Bucks, and we're gonna see, which team is gonna prevail. We've been talking about the Lakers every week. We haven't said a whole lot about the Bucks, but this matchup here, the top 2 teams in the NBA, really gonna find out if they are who they say they are. And they had a streak going. Milwaukee Bucks had a streak going. They won 18 straight games. 18 straight. It just snapped this week, and they lost to the Mavs. Now the Mavericks have wins over both the Lakers and the Bucks. So they're in that next tier. The Mavericks are in that next tier. However, Luka is going to spend some time down because he's injured. So I'm going to like to see how the Mavericks are going to go forward without Luka, but you're getting prime time all-star Porzingis now. You're getting Porzingis that was in New York, who was one of the best players in the league, Porzingis. You're not getting second fiddle to Luka Porzingis. You're getting prime time. And you're starting to see why he's getting the kind of deal that he's getting the kind of money that he's getting because he's a primetime player. He's one of the best European players in the game right now. This is him and Luka. He's just got to share the spotlight with Luka. And the Mavs have wins over the Lakers and the Bucks. So Dallas is going to be right there. We had the conversation last week about Luka and Trey. Luka and Trey. Why is everybody talking about Luka? Not a whole lot of people talking about Trey. Well, Luka's on a good team. Luka's on a good team. So that's the difference between the two. So injuries are going to play a part not only with Dallas, with the rest of the NBA. The thing about the Bucks and the Lakers, the reason why that they could be at the top of the game is they don't have injuries to their main players. LeBron hasn't missed a game. If he has, it's a game or two. AD hasn't missed a whole lot of action. Greek Freak hasn't missed a whole lot of action. We're going to see how they're going to play without Eric Bledsoe, though. That could be huge for them because they're not deep at the point guard position. You got George Hill coming off the bench, but after that, it's like, who you got at the point? So, yeah, they're going to have some problems at the point. And injuries, like I said, injuries have been a huge part of the NBA. The top teams, they haven't had huge injuries. Just look at what injury has done to the New Orleans Hornets, Pelicans. Zion Williamson, number 1 draft pick, was tearing it up in the summer, and everybody just crowned Zion the next LeBron. He was going to be rookie of the year. He was going 20-10 the whole NBA, and he hasn't played a game. And you look at New Orleans, they have one of the worst records in the NBA. That is one of the bottom 3 teams in the NBA. And we're going to talk about the Pelicans because they are in our not segment. Talk about who's hot, who's not. They're not hot at all. They cold, they frigid. Like I tell my son in the morning, brr, it's cold outside, boy. That's how they play. But part of that is because no Zion. Now, if you have Zion, maybe that record is reflected a little bit in that. Whenever you taking 20-10 off the board, now I was not a fan, the guy that said he was going to come in and get 20-10. Even though this summer, he got it done this summer. And the way these guys is checking, he might put up some crazy numbers because there ain't nobody really playing no defense like that, especially from that position. So injuries, man. Injuries have been key. Look at the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics had the best record in basketball. Gordon Hayward goes down for an extended period of time. They drop a few games. Kemba Walker gets injured. They drop a few games. Injuries have played a big part of the NBA season so far. So I just want to see, what the Pelicans are going to do. And are they going to try to get Zion back? Is he just going to take the whole year off? Is he going to take a redshirt year like Michael Porter Jr. did last year? Like Ben Simmons? Like Embiid did for almost 2.5 seasons? Are they just going to shut him down? Because, at this point, he's missed 25 games, 25 to 30 games. So, what you doing with them? You don't want them to come and start playing towards the All-Star break, and then now you bringing them in, and your team ain't got no chances of winning, so you better off not playing them and just getting another high position in next year's draft where you can just draft Lonzo's brother, had the Ball brothers both in New Orleans. I don't quite think that is going to happen, but it's possible. Very possibly could happen. So, what are they going to do with Zion? I want to know what they're going to do with Zion. So, 2 big games coming up at the end of this week, the Bucks and the Lakers. You also got the Bucks and the Celtics. So you're going to find out the Celtics, they just beat the Sixers the other night, earlier this week. So they're playing people too. So they just they're a good team. They're a good team and they got some good wins. So we're going to see what they're really about this week when they play the Lakers and the Celtics in back-to-back games. And you see how that bounce back is crazy. All right. So let's talk about my front runners for Rookie of the Year. We talked about it this summer, and I told you who my Rookie of the Year vote was going to be well before Zion got hurt. And now that Zion's hurt, somebody else got to win Rookie of the Year. And what I told y'all is the boy Ja Morant. Ja Morant is serious. He is serious because his game translates to how the NBA is played. The NBA is played with space and pace. And he can play with both. Plays with tempo. He knows when to go fast, knows when to go slow. Very good with the ball screen. Very good with floor spacing. And in the NBA, if you got good spacing and you got a guard that could create downhill, especially coming off of pistol actions and handoffs and middle ball screens, oh, buddy, Oh, buddy, watch out. Watch out for the Memphis Grizzlies going forward. They don't have a great record so far. They're middle of the pack in the East. Want to say they're just outside the eighth seed. But Ja Morant, who's bringing in 18 and 6 a game, and when you compare him to Kyrie in his first year in the NBA, the numbers are about the same. The thing about when you compare him to Kyrie when they first get in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers were terrible. This is pre-LeBron. This is pre-LeBron. We talk about Cavs. Pre-LeBron. So they were terrible. They didn't have the kind of players that the Memphis Grizzlies have. They have Jaren Jackson Jr. They have Marvin Williams. They got Terry Rozier. Okay, they got some pieces. Not Terry Rozier. That's with the Hornets. I'm getting them mixed up. However, the Memphis Grizzlies, they got some pieces, man. They got some pieces. But Ja Morant, he's shooting 43% from three. That's pretty good in the NBA. If you're a guard, especially from the point guard position, and you can stretch the floor like that, where you can shoot 40% from three or above, Russell Westbrook ain't shooting that. Harden ain't shooting that from three. And ain't a whole lot of guys in the NBA shooting 41, 42, 43% from the three at the guard position. The elite level guys are, the guys that get paid to shoot are, but the point guards that are creators, that are space getters, as I like to call them, he's a space getter because he's going to get in space and he's going to get to his spots on the floor and he's going to dunk it on your head down the lane. So that's the thing about Ja Morant. He's good in transition. He's good in the half court. He's got a real old school pace of the game. Boy, only 20 years old. So that means in college, the stuff he was doing last year, he was 19. There's guys right now that we got the top 100 ranked in high school and they 19. I ain't gonna say no names, but you get where I'm getting at. Ja Morant is true in his age. He's 20 years old. He did 3 years at Murray State. He's 20. He can't even buy himself a beer. But yet he coming down the lane. And if you jumping with him, you better watch out. And you better not cry. Because it's Christmas time. And I'm telling you why. Ja Morant is coming to town. You feel me? Like that little Santa reference. But anyway, Ja Morant is the real deal. He's the rookie of the year right now. A close second is Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn from the Miami Heat was a secret going into the league. Most people didn't know who Kendrick Nunn was. But if you from Chi-Town, you know all about Kendrick Nunn because he was a bucket in high school. He was a straight bucket. I don't know why people just up and forgot about him just because he went to Oakland University, home of Kay Felder. But I mean, he was a bucket at Simeon. He was a bucket at Oakland, and now he gets to the league. And they say it's easier to score in the NBA than it is in college. See, college, the court is smaller, play zone, teams are focused on you more. NBA, there's more space, there's more opportunity for you to create. And on that Miami Heat team, especially if you help off Jimmy Butler, there are opportunities for guys to make plays. And Kendrick Nunn has been making plays. He's 16 and 4 a game. Just dropped 28 the other night. I mean, he's getting it done. I thought it was a fluke. I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was a fluke. I thought the first couple games he just played well. And then once they got Jimmy Butler back from injury, you were gonna see his numbers decline some, and they didn't. They didn't. They actually spiked. They actually spiked because now the focus, you can't focus on him. You can't focus on him. You have to focus some on Jimmy Butler. And we're gonna talk about the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they're worthy to be talked about in this early season. But Kendrick Nunn's a close second in the Rookie of the Year race. Right now, it's Ja Morant just because he's so dynamic, but he's giving you the assists. He's getting a high number of assists, about 7 or 8 a game, and he's giving you 18, 19 points. I mean, that's really good production from a rookie. That's only 20 years old. So right now, my early vote for Rookie of the Year is Ja Morant. Now, before we go into our who's hot, who's not segment of the NBA, I want to talk about Kyrie Irving. What happened to Kyrie? What's up with Kyrie? I know he hurt and all that. And he's only played 11 games. He's missed the last 15. But what's the deal, Brooklyn? What's the deal? Brooklyn winning more games without Kyrie than they had with him. So is he really a top tier point guard? You saw what happened in Boston. Struggled in Boston. He got the numbers, but he struggled. He struggled to get them there. The talent that they had with Kyrie Irving, there's no reason why they shouldn't have went to the Eastern Conference Finals. No reason. But they couldn't put it together. He wasn't the kind of guard to fit in that system. Now he's out here in Brooklyn. And even in Brooklyn, sorry for the school bell. I'm at my job. You know what I'm saying? Got, parent-teacher conference. I ain't got no parents coming in. But anyway, the thing about him in Brooklyn is that now he can play up tempo. He can play in space. He can play with the ball, dribble, dribble, dribble. That's how he likes to play. But now that he's injured, somebody else got to get that shine. And Spencer Dinwiddie's been getting it done. Karis LeVert has been getting it done. Josh Allen's been getting it done. And in their last 15 games, they're 10-5. They're 14-2 overall. Currently, they're in the 7th place in the NBA. And they were 4-11, 4-8 with him. So my question to you is this. Does Brooklyn really need Kyrie to be effective this year? Should you just sit both of them down? Sit Kyrie down, sit KD down, and then next year is the year that you make your run because it's obviously they're playing well without him. Since their injury, they're 10-5 without Kyrie Irving. Now, they just had a big win over the Philadelphia 76ers, and Brooklyn is one of those teams that if you sleep on them, they're gonna creep up on you. They're going to creep up on you. And when Kyrie was playing, don't get it twisted, he was 28-7 a game. But those 28-7 only amounted to a record that was 4-7. They didn't have a very good record with Kyrie. So I would like to know what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do with Kyrie Irving. What are they going to do? Because they're young stars. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie, they're paying him money now. So when you pay that man some money, you're going to need production out of you. And he wasn't getting the same kind of production with Kyrie as he's having now without Kyrie. So I want to know how that dynamic is going to work going forward. Can they play together? Can they both be high-level, efficient scorers, efficient offensively and defensively? I don't know. Brooklyn's one of those teams where it's hard to figure out what they're going to do with Kyrie Irving because traditionally he's been one of the best point guards in the league. So if you're playing better without the best point guard in the league, what does that say about the best point guard in the league? What does that say about your team? Seems like you will have a pretty solid team. And then you put one really good player in this mix, like what happened in Boston. Now all of a sudden, it's a chemistry issue. It's a chemistry issue. Now he's the ball hogging player now. He's the guy that's just going for stats and going for numbers. So keep your eye out on Brooklyn and how they handle Kyrie Irving and this injury situation. So I want to go to, we're going to end off this NBA segment with a segment I would like to call Who's Hot, Who's Not. And I'm going to tell you who's hot. I'm going to give you 3 teams that's hot, and I'm going to give you 3 teams that's not. One of those teams is the Miami Heat. They're currently 20-8. Just had a big win early this week. I want to say they beat the Bucks. And they've got wins against some really good teams. They got wins against Dallas, wins against Houston, a win against 2 or 3 wins. I want to say 2 wins against the Philadelphia 76ers, a win against Boston. I mean, the Miami Heat is sneaky good. They're sneaky good because they got 7 guys that are averaging double figures. 7. You got Jimmy Butler at 20 a game. You got Kendrick Nunn at about 16 a game. You got Duncan Robinson shooting 44% from 3. We're going to talk about Duncan Robinson. Here's a kid that went from Division III basketball to Division I basketball to the league. That's why it's always a place for a high-level shooter. High-level shooter. Duncan Robinson is a high-level shooter. He's a shot maker. He's a shot maker elite. He's shooting 44% from 3 in the NBA. And you already know going to the game who one of their best shooters are. You know it's him. You know not to get him shots, but he's averaging around 12 points a game. He's getting 2 or 3 threes made every single game. So there's always a spot for a high-level shooter. So all my shooters out there, if you can shoot the ball at a high clip, you're going to be on somebody's team. It's pretty simple. Duncan Robinson is one of those guys. So Jimmy Butler, of course, you would think Jimmy Butler's a 30-point game guy. He's not. He's around between 20 and 25 a game. But the thing about the Miami Heat is they check, man. They check, too. Big Bam Adebayo is a big body in there. It's a big body in that paint. He getting boards, he getting rebounds. Jimmy Butler's a two-way player. You got Kendrick Nunn, he'll get his nose in there. Tyler Hero is a good player. Justice Winslow is another two-way guy that can check. So you're starting to see these teams that put a little bit more emphasis on defense than particularly scoring, and that's why they're doing well. So the Miami Heat, you want to watch the Miami Heat. If you get a chance to catch them on NBA TV or late night, turn the Miami Heat on. You will not be disappointed. They got some players, and this ain't no fluke. This ain't no fluke. The Miami Heat going to be top 3-4 team in the East this year. Second on my who's hot list, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are currently 18-8. All right, they've won 3 in a row. Their leading scorers, Jamal Murray from Kentucky, who I thought was going to have a decent career. I didn't think he was going to come in and average 17, 18, 19 points per game. I just didn't. I didn't think his game from Kentucky would translate to the NBA. But the one thing that's different from how he's playing now than when he was playing in college, he could put the ball on the floor and he could create. He could get to the rim. Kentucky, he was just a shooter. He was just more high-level shooter. And now the way the game is played now, if you can create your own shot in the NBA, you got a chance to be a high-level player. And that's what he can do. He can create his own shot. He can create plays for other guys. You got the Joker on that team. He's giving you 17 to 10 in game, which is his numbers are down. I thought he would be in the 20. I thought he'd be in 2012 averaging for that team. But they're just a better collection of guys now. They're a better collection of guys, and they're older. A year older. They got some experience from last year because they had a good season last year. The Denver Nuggets, they're going to be right there. They're one of those teams that they're giving up around 5 points less than what they're averaging, around 117 points per game, and they're giving up around 110, 109. So you're starting to see that if you can get some stops, you can get it done. And the thing about Denver, Gary Harris, his production has dropped a little bit. His production has dropped a little bit. I thought him and Jamal Murray had a nice little tandem, CJ Dame kind of thing going. And you're starting to see that it's more Will Barton and Jamal Murray that's kind of taking the reins of the backcourt for the Nuggets. But it's all about the Joker. The Joker, when the Joker is playing at a high level, they're hard to beat just because the teams that have traditional bigs and teams that have inside players that can do it all, like he can. He can put the ball on the floor, he can pass it, shoot it. When you got bigs like that, your chances of winning are a lot better than when you don't have them. So the Denver Nuggets is my second team. My third team I want to talk about is the Philadelphia 76ers. Currently, they're at 20-9, one of the top teams in the East. And Joel Embiid is putting his stamp down as the best big in the NBA. Last year, I told you, I thought it was the Joker. And from production level to wins to what they were doing last year, yeah, that's the key. Right now, it's Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is the best big in basketball right now. He's shooting less threes and more jump shots, and he's getting more production in the paint. Right now, he's at 23 points per game, 13 rebounds, and he's bringing it every night, which is what I like. He's starting to see that he can play a collection of games and not have to sit. And towards the end of the season last year, the Sixers dropped some games because Embiid had to sit. They had to monitor his knees and his minutes. And you're not seeing that this year. You're getting a high-level play out of Joel Embiid. And they also dropped the bag on Tobias Harris. They dropped the bag on Harris. And guess what? He's backing it up. He's 19-7 a game. But he also signed a 5-year, $180 million deal as well. So when you sign a deal like that, people come to the table like, okay, that little 14, 15 a game is you're gonna have to up that up. And he did. He's backing it up. He said he's backing up. He said, I'm worth every bit of that money. I'm worth the money. So shout out to Tobias Harris. He's only 27, so he's gonna see every penny of that. Hopefully, if you don't get injured and things of that sort. But he should get every penny of that bag, and he deserves it too. He deserves it because he's he's the glue for this team. Him getting 12, 13 points ain't gonna get it. If he's 18 to 20 a game and he's giving you 9 or 10 rebounds and he's giving you 4 or 5 assists, the Sixers are gonna be right there. And he's one of them guys you can put on the best player on the other team too, and he can still have a high level production. So I like Tobias Harris. I like them in Detroit, man. We couldn't keep him, man. We couldn't keep Tobias here in Detroit. We get all these guys. We can't keep them in Detroit. We had Spencer Dinwiddie. We didn't keep him. We had Chris Middleton. We didn't keep him. Tobias Harris. We let Tobias go. So the Sixers, and Ben Simmons. So here's another thing I want to talk about the Sixers. So I thought this was going to be the breakout year for Ben Simmons. He'd be one of the best guards in the East, and he was going to start making threes, and he's having an okay season. Okay. He's at 14, 6, and 8. I thought he would have a lot better numbers than that. Uh, but they're running their offense through Embiid as they should. It shouldn't run through Ben Simmons, and they're playing him more off the ball than that point guard position, which I like that more. He's more of a playmaker, but he ain't a point guard. So put somebody else at the point, bring him up, and then try to run your offense through Embiid, and then he could get touches in transition and off rebounds and stuff like that. So I would like Ben Simmons for his numbers to be a little bit better than 14, 6, and 8. But we'll see. We'll see. The Sixers are going to be right there in the mix. And just three teams, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about them, but just the three not teams this week we're going to talk about the New Orleans Pelicans. And what are y'all doing, man? Y'all made this big trade with the Lakers, and then Zion go down. Drew Holiday, he on his way out. He already telling teams he's available. So I mean, they're just not a very good basketball team. They lost 12 straight games. I'm gonna need them guys to be professional. I'm gonna need y'all to get out the bottom. You got enough. Brandon Ingram is enough. Lonzo Ball is enough. You got enough there where, Drew Holiday, that's enough. You got enough talent there where you should have more than 6 wins in the NBA season after 25. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all better than that. So the New Orleans Pelicans are there. The Atlanta Hawks, 6-22. Like you have one of the best point guards, up and coming point guards in the league in Trae Young. The boy got to score 50. He got to get 50, 20, and 10 for it to be a game. And that shouldn't be the case, man. You shouldn't need that kind of production just to get dubs. Just to get dubs. I mean, right now, they're giving up 120 points per game. So when teams see the Hawks, like I said last week, they like, oh, man, we going to work on them. Go flat out going over. They couldn't even beat the Knicks. They lost to the Knicks the other night. So, I mean, Atlanta, I'm going to need y'all to get it together. I mean, Trae Young, he's having a great season, 28 and 8 a game. He needs some help, man, some veteran help. Them young guys ain't cutting it. They ain't cutting it right now. And I ain't got time to wait 2-3 years to be waiting for you to be a good team because you showed the different nuggets. You put the right pieces together, they get it. Those guys is young, too. So I know they're young, but I'm going to need some more production out of them young guys other than Trae Young. And then my third not team this week is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're 1-9 their last 10 games. They're having issues with John Beilein. The college stuff ain't really transitioning to the NBA. You see Tristan Thompson the other night, cherry picks for a dunk, goes off on the coach, even though he's 100% in the wrong. 100% in the wrong. But, of course, the coach will take you out the game and tell you about it. But that's the thing about the NBA and college guys. Sometimes it does not translate. It translated well for Benny Donovan. Really translated well for the coach that's at the Celtics. Really translated well from him. But for Beilein, he's struggling, man. He's struggling. Darius Garland is a hot spot for them. But they struggling, man. The college stuff ain't working. The 10 offense ain't working. In NBA, they need to try something else because they are one of the worst teams in basketball, right? They have the worst point differential in the league. They're giving up 121 points per game and only averaging 111. So they ain't going to cut it. So I'm going to need the Cleveland Cavaliers to get it together or somebody going to be out of a job. I don't know who, but somebody's going to be out of a job until they get it together. So it is what it is. Those are my not teams for the week. And you already know what it is. We talking hoops. It's your man, Coach Ken.